Okay, this is day 60, part 2, and we have Haseeb Rana's response back. He's obviously going to motion for dismissal. That's kind of the first check of the swords in the parry here, and this, of course, also happened in the Beck case that our case is derivative of. And they claim a worldwide conspiracy. No, actually, I don't. I talk about a conspiracy of about a mile square. Actually, it's within walking distance, a quarter mile of Capitol Hill. So, and basically the summary of the argument by the defense is there's two things: standing and cause. So we'll just take those one at a time. Now remember, this is derivative of the case of DNC. This is Wildin versus DNC. Jared Beck, this is one of the plaintiffs here in Wildin. Remember that the judge here found, in his final opinion, Article 62, that there was standing. Even in this case, the DNC, where they didn't know anything about the Awans, they didn't know anything about Fusion GPS, they didn't know anything about the Podesta Group, they didn't know anything about ARMZ, they didn't know anything. They knew a little tiny bit about Uranium One, but really didn't have a concept of act blues or phishing attacks or the agreement with Hillary for America, with the JCA agreement. None of that was known. And even at that, here's the judge's final opinion after it's all said and done. Again, the defense quotes a flurry of just a litany of lawsuits that are not related to the actual case, which the actual case is going to be a case that's tried already on similar grounds that's derivative of this. They quote all this case law that just has nothing to do whatsoever with the case. When you go before a judge, you cannot waste their time and their legal staff's time. You have to go immediately to the most relevant facts, and this has already been adjudicated. Now, the basis of standing has already been adjudicated by a judge, and he said yes, there was standing. Now, he said basically there was weak standing, so that's why the case was dismissed, but it moved forward. I'll just read Judge Locke's opinion here, but the plaintiffs in this case do not allege a causal link between their donations and DNC statements. Well, I sure do, because Bernie went from town to town saying, hey, give me money, work the phones for me, go to knock on doors. There's a whole bunch of people that did a whole bunch of statements here thinking they were sending their money to Bernie. Now with that JCA agreement, we know that it was swept. It was just swept directly to Brooklyn. Swept directly to Brooklyn. They did not make this case. Jared did not make this case. I will. I don't have that standing problem. So they lack standing to assert that claim because they didn't make that connection. I certainly am going to make that connection. They talk about a fiduciary breach, which is not enough buffered by too many layers of speculation. I'm not buffering anything. I'm saying it's the Awans, it's the Becerra server, it's the hack that occurred. It's Nancy Pelosi's cover-up. Get Imran in here. Here's the days that Imran was at DNC. Here's the Inspector General's report. Here's the credit union report. Here's the night of the inauguration burglary report. Here's the John Wilkes phone booth report. Here's all the different police reports in Fairfax County of beatings and so forth. And here's all the problems with all these different companies. So there's no lack of proof here with the Awans. And remember, the chairman of the DNC, her right-hand man was Imran Awan. He was running around with her laptop, her iPad, her phones, and her passwords. So the link is iron. There is almost a meld between Imran Awan and Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Now we come to the idea of Haseeb Rana being a hand-selected surrogate. Now here I'm going to motion for oral argument because my motion to compel discovery of those documents I just talked about has not even been entered in by DC District. That's over 8 days ago now. Equally, the production of documents is not there, and also production of discovery is not there. The judge has never seen this. He has no idea that there is a very strong case against Imran Awan. just in documents that could inform the court. And again, we want to move toward judicial economy. We don't want to waste the court's time. We don't want to waste the staff of the court. So moving on, I'm going to quote where not my testimony. I'm going to quote the people that are actually the father of the defendant saying, hey, this is the situation. So I'm going to quote that article that Luke said, and I'm going to just go down here. And this is my motion to oppose, motion to dismiss. We're going to clean that up a little bit. But basically, I go here and I say, look, with allegedly no-show employees connected to Imran being added to numerous House offices, someone had to do the work. Imran enlisted an old high school friend, Haseeb Rana, for this purpose. Haseeb did not respond to the comments, but his father did, Tanweer Rana, and he said, hey, they made him do all the work. Haseeb Rana, right here, his father, is saying, Haseeb is the hands of Imran Awan and Rayo Abbas. He is the hands. The brain is Imran. The brain may be also Rayo Abbas. Maybe that's the wheels, but Haseeb is the hands. So this conspiracy is one thing. It's one body. It's one corpus. Okay. So there's his father testifying, not something I'm asserting from a third party. And of course, it's not evidence yet, but I mean, this leads you to believe that there's reasonable suspicion. And then you've got Imran saying Imran manipulated his high school buddy, Haseeb Rana, into doing his work. Well, if those were crimes, if those were felonies, did you know that those were felonies? That's the key question. There's clear evidence with all those documents that felonies were committed. My son is quiet. Imran's the opposite, always relishing power and displays of influence. Okay, well, that's fine. I believe all that to be true. I believe his father knows him pretty well here. And then here again, Imran, a direct linkage, an iron linkage between Imran and Haseeb. Haseeb believed Imran hired him directly, although men were not part of the same company and were hired as different W-2 employees of the Congress. So here he signed an individual agreement, an employment agreement. He signed a terms of use agreement. He signed a W-2 in terms of filing his taxes. He had to understand that he worked directly for the Congress and had responsibilities. If you're taking orders from Imran and breaking your terms of use agreement, your confidentiality agreement, your other agreements with equipment going to Pakistan, for instance, or money going to Pakistan, you're on the hook. There's no getting out of this. You're on the hook. So, again, a timeline of events. We're going to present this to the judge, a timeline of events. Imran, basically, Rayo hires Imran here after 2003. Imran files bankruptcy in 2002. He starts this company. The bankruptcy ends in May of 2002, and then he brings Rayo in November after they win the election. Then he starts another mortgage company. Imran starts another mortgage company. And then Haseeb Rana comes in. And Haseeb Rana is employed in the Congress for 2 years and 1 month. And he works for 6 or 7 different congressmen. I'm sorry, but you have to realize if you're a W-2 employee and it says U.S. Congress on your check, your loyalty is to the U.S. Congress. While he's there, well, the CDW and some of the other things happen after he leaves. But you're still on the hook for stuff that happens while you're an employee of the United States Congress. There's a couple of good resources I wanted to point people to. There's this guy here, which he's a litigation kind of guy, and I like him. I like watching him. If people want to watch him, it's Steve Vondran, V-O-N-D-R-A-N. He's a good one. And then there's other resources out here too. WikiHow talks about responding to different motions and so forth for people who are doing their own lawsuits. There's another interesting thing here with Haseeb. He's involved in this company, surgical company too, I think. One's a surgical glove company, and the other one looks like they do something for dentistry. Maybe it's the same company. One's called Triumph Surgical, and the other is AccuSurgident. So we don't know exactly what that is, but there's the DUNS number for people who want to look up for it. My first question was, do they do business with the Army or the Navy? Do they do business with Fort Belvoir? Is that DUNS number in any contracts, in any federal contracts? There's another company called Sam Samawee. And I don't have the DUNS number just yet for that, but I'm interested to see if they do any business in Fort Belvoir. But there you go. There's this period of hire, Q1 of 2013 to Q1 of 2015. And then, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's worked for 7 different representatives in the House. Your loyalties have to be to these representatives and the Congress and the rules of the Congress, the Sergeant of Arms. It's not to Imran Awan. You may be from the same little village in Pakistan, but you still have to abide by your agreements. When you take the money in your employment agreement, you have to go by the rules of your employer, not by somebody who you think got you the job. That's what it kind of boils down to here.